What is going on? What is this? What is this? Coronation?
Coronation.
Oh, coronation. Oh, thank you. The ceremony of crowning a sovereign or a sovereign's consort. Crowning a sovereign. Oh, right. So it was sovereign, right? Define Bash sovereign, right? Let's see what this Bash tells you. Oh, see. Oh, they couldn't wait. Yes. A supreme ruler, especially a monarch, possessing supreme or ultimate power. Ultimate. Absolute. Unlimited. Unrestricted. Unrestrained. Unbounded. Boundless. But somehow, it's also infinite, total, full, utter, unconditional, paramount, more. It's all those things. Wow, who knew? So, ah, I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm a sovereign man, the free man in this. What? Ah, right. So you would believe yourself to be not under some sovereign authority, but under your own authority, right? So you have crowned yourself, right? And you believe yourself to have the crown chakra. Oh, I'm so illuminated, right? So you're self-appointed. You're the self-appointed bash in relentless self-help and self-wisdom and you name it under the sun. But somehow, whoa, it's a ceremony of crowning a sovereign. The ceremony, coronation. So you're in the relentless ceremony of somehow crowning yourself. Exactly, boasting in yourself crowning. Oh, what is going on? But of course, define, right? State or describe exactly the nature, scope, or meaning of. Yet also is not word the actual limit in the sense of how you define it, how you're filtering it. For the word is timeless, eternal, that which brought forth what you interpret to be the manifest. What is going on? And surely man's word is to define, right? Define what? Hmm. Something that already is, was and forever will be. But no, to you, it's somehow, let's just go and refine it. Refine it, and repackage and refurbish, and now sell it to you as whatever you want. Because we're the Unicorn Store and we're here to please you and show you who you really are. Somehow. No. They will define who you are. But oh no, 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 I'm the indigo child. I am the illuminated child of the expanding consciousness. Yes, I am the indigo child and I'm giving birth to relentless crystal children. Right, because you worship the chrysalids and bash, 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 and the rebirth. Exactly, the rebirth. Time for a change. Ah, right? The relentless bash propaganda, the brainwashing, the blasting into you the image that then you call your life. But instead of, wow, being illuminated, no, you're this guy, okay? You're simple Jack. He just cares about horses and just, wow, somehow he's just so simple. You make, and this and that and did that this. What is going on? Hmm. Certainly, this back faceless person knows, but all you see is this guy, right? And he's just become the horse because look, he actually made himself. He did that mutilation, self mutilation, just as the supposed Japanese mutilated their feet and this and other cultures that mutilate their skulls and their necks and all this other stuff. This guy mutilated his front teeth because now he's just like a horse. So hybridizing yourself with a horse is ultimate, right? So you're like, yes, he's a crystal child, but he just didn't get it right. What's going on? And you're like, no, he's a crystal child because look, yes, because he made it. He's a star and he's in a movie. And this and that and this. But no, it's a guy doing it. It's one guy playing multiple bashes. So what is it? The shapeshifter. Wow, who knew? And this shapeshifter appears to be a simple jack. Wow, a simple jack. Wow, that's like a horse. That's a horse lover and also a horse. What is going on? Just resembles a horse, but somehow Disney tells you that you're the animal and you're the animal and the animal's you. Somehow it speaks and somehow now you believe it. Wow! So this guy is saying something, and what is he saying? Oh, who knows? But somehow you're the indigo children. Yes, yes, here to just free us from some bash coronation, right? You're going to take that crown off and then put another one on, or somehow. Just do it over and over again and just pass around crowns and defile each other, toss each other, and contort, in and out, and stretch, and now pull, and now squeeze, and just pull back, and wow, smashed. Nothing. More of this. For what truly has supposedly defined you, life, whatever. Well, is it not the said industrial revolution? Right? Which somehow brought you now your bash little things that you blast light into and then bash cry when it's dead. Um what's going on? What is going on? So this one is, well, look at all these pictures of just machines and relentless lines and conveyor belts upon conveyor belts and this and this. And just steam power everywhere, just and that. Wow. Just so many things just going on, being built. Buildings, who knew? Just amazing buildings, supposedly, and this and that. Wow. So all took place from the 18th century to the 19th centuries. Whoa. So 200 years, is that what you're saying? 200 years. 2 centuries. Was a period during which predominantly agrarian rural societies in Europe and America, both, see, Europe and America, they were united. They were holding hands, right? This and this and that. Became industrial. Wow, they become industrial. So somehow they became something other than what they were. So to them, it was just like, we're just too simple. We know nothing. All we love is horses. We just love the simple life somehow. That somehow means that we lived in the Stone Ages. It was just too bashed. It was just not good enough. Right? Because you say, oh, there was relentless suffering and plagues and this. Why? What was going on? Oh, who knows? But it was the Renaissance. It was the Renaissance somehow. And then after came the Industrial Revolution. So it was the rebirth, right? Wow, the rebirth, right? The chrysalis Bosch story, Bosch, an early manuscript. Wow, and this and this and this and this. and then taught in curriculums to some past generation. And who knew that generations after that might not even know what this bash is? But somehow it was bashed into relentless children, and now it's just part of it. They might not even remember this book in their conscious mind, supposedly, using psychological terminology or whatever, bash. But in their subconscious, wow, it's there, and it's blasted and titillated with all the notions of thrillers and sci-fi and bashed realities, right? So how do you know the difference if there's a bash thing in Mars sending you pictures, and there's also a movie about Mars? Wow, how can you tell the difference? No, there's no difference because it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same bash rebirth idea of somehow rebirthing man, the image that man defines. Because now he changed himself, right? Became industrial, right? They just became somehow industrial. So man was just somehow different. He was just somehow not industrial. He was just bashed. He was just bashed and pulling buggies and bash, 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 bash. But somehow, all the ruins that you say exist were already built, had already been built, right? And then things like the fortresses of all said Americas, and were built in what? Who knew? 160 years, this and that, and all of them, right? Just relentless cities, surrounded by rock walls and this and that and that, and you say, well, yeah, that. But we were still just so simple. We were just so simple. We had no clue. We had no clue, guys. We had no clue. Somehow we had no clue, but somehow people came to the Americas and built it all. But still, they were just bashed. They had no clue, and they were just bashed, bashed, bashed. Just so simple. All they did was ride horses and kill each other. That's all they did. Oh, they needed something new. They needed something fresh. Well, let me tell you about the Industrial Revolution. Yes, look, right? Wow. What is it? Who knew? Well, this bash will tell you. Wow, thank you. Yes, look. Known as the first industrial revolution. Well, the first, and then there's the second and the third, and bash, bash, bash. Who knew? Was the transition to new manufacturing processes in Europe and the United States. So manufacturing. They make you think it's about things, just making things differently. No, the whole thing. What you consider infrastructure and this and that, all the way to the bone of your so called communities. Wow, what a shame. So, wow, look, blah, 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 in the periods from about 1760 to sometime between 1820 and 1840. Right? Wow. Wow. So, not even 200 years. No. Look. Not even 100 years. So let's say from 1760 to 1840. Wow, this transition. And then the second one came through. And then the third, right? But look. Wow. Including going from hand production to machines. Wow. Look at all the intricacies. Look, right? So somehow that happened in 80 years. Right? They look. So and you say, well, these didn't exist before that, dummy. So they just had to build them. Wow. Right? How do you this needs some sort of blueprint and all this bash. And I mean, what is it? No, people were just this. People were just this and they didn't know anything. And somehow today we just know all. We just know it all. And somehow the other bashes were just barely making it because they made everything by hand. And it was just so bashed. They knew nothing, right? They knew nothing. Wow. And now you'll say all these, I want handcrafted made this, I want artisan that, I want organic this, blah, 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 blah. And you cry when there's nobody making things by hand anymore. You're like, wah! Why is everything made in China or in India by some machine? And you say, no, it's made by little tiny baby hands, you dummy. And this and this and then, yeah, exactly. Relentlessly crying, right? But you don't realize that, wow, it was all pre-planned, pre-cooked for you. So from the 1760s to the 1840s, somehow they already had bashed it into you that somehow, oh, this product is outdated. It's gonna one day become obsolete because now we have the relentless combobulation of combobulations. And look at this. Somehow it can become discombobulated, and we'll just combobulate it again. Whatever, bash. Look, I mean, look at all the pulleys and this and that, right? So you say, no, that did not exist, and we were just simple jacks all the way down to caveman. But somehow now we just had it made. Somehow we were illuminated, right? No. What is going on? Because surely man has always had a relationship with his surroundings. Wow, who knew? And people marvel at how things supposedly used to be made by hand and all the intricate tools and most of them wooden tools and this and that and this with the ability to forge metal tools and this and that and this and this and wow, who knew, right? But no, somehow they're just too simple and they could not have built anything like the pyramids or anything like this or that or the other. It was just somehow just impossible because they didn't have machines, guys. They didn't have machines, so therefore it was impossible. So therefore they just lived simple jack lives and they just had nothing. Right? No. What a shame. You've been bashed to believe that. Right? Because look, they make it seem like so bashed, right? Like, oh look, now we just use tinier things. No. Now you use supposedly robotics, automated things, bash all powered by some bash thing that you bash through cables. Wow, what a shame. What are you even doing? Just more of this. More of this and more of this. More machines, please. Yes. Right? Increasing the use of steam power and water power. Oh, but they won't talk about that. So how was all this possible in 80 years? Well, with the power of water. Who knew? Who knew? But somehow, no, now we just traded the power of water for the power of some greasy black substance. Amazing. How did that happen? Oh, somehow it's just better per pound. And this and that. It's a bigger blast. And what? So things that were achieved that now you'll just say, I don't know how to make that. I just go and buy it. Exactly. Who knew everything that man has ever needed was there already, provided for by who knew? Those who were in the living with the labor of their hand, right? And who knew who you call artists today? And you're like, wow, look at their art. Wow. Who knew people can use their hands? Wow, who knew? And look, wow, amazing. But no, somehow we just needed to bash it this way. And you say, well, of course, that's what liberated us and gave us the illumination period. Right? Because this, right? The bash rebirth of something. They were pushing a rebirth. Who knew? Period in history. Well, European history. Whoa. Covering the span between the 14th and the 17th centuries and marking the transition from the Middle Ages to modernity. Oh, yes. Look, he even has a little whisker. No, he doesn't. Just clean shaven relentlessly. Amazing. What is going on? And this middle age, wow, the middle ages, right? And before that, the dark ages. Was it? So you don't know what went on there. We don't know. It's just a blunder. It was a stupor. Man's stupor. We have no idea. No. Right? What is going on? You say, well, now we do know. We know everything, guys. We know everything. The traditional view focuses more on the early modern aspects of the Renaissance and argues that it was a break from the past. Wow, they're telling you right there. But many historians today focus more on its medieval aspects and argue that it was an extension of the Middle Ages. So who knew that they'd have bashes just trying to blur the line? So then you'd say, well, who cares? I'm just gonna YOLO, baby, yeah, because this doesn't even matter to you anymore. This does not mean anything. You just worship the art that was supposedly created in those times. You worship the painters and all this bash and the philosophers and bash, blah, 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 blah. Nothing, because the intellectual basis of the Renaissance was its version of humanism, and that's what you worship. That is what you worship. Is a study of the classical antiquity at first in Italy and then spreading across Western Europe, 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries. The term humanism, wow, right? Humanism is contemporary to that period, while Renaissance humanism is a retronym used to distinguish it from later humanisms or whatever. Whoa, there's so see relentless shape shifting. Shape shifting of what? Because surely man has always seen the same thing. So what do you see? What are you seeing? Because you can shape shift it, bash, call it whatever you want. Just according of how you can come to have a consensus. Because truly a dictionary is a way to just bash anyone in the living, because you'll teach them what words and then bash tell them that that's what it is. And wow, the bash words, because wow. But no, what wisdom is there? For the word is timeless. So what is the word? Oh, you don't know, it's just what man says. No. What is the word? It calleth. So do you answer? No. Instead, you'll just relentlessly define your way into the oblivion. To swim with Simple Jack and all his friends and just say, yes, give me the simple life. Through the Industrial Revolution, please. Yes, give me the simple life. See, this is the total contradiction. You want the simple life through somehow the technology of today. And you're like, well, let's just use it. Let's just use the technology that all this industry has created for or just laid forth for us to just blunder ourselves. Whoa, let's just use it to somehow go back to the simple life, right? Everybody wants some bash. They're like, oh, can't we just get along, people? People, can't we just hold hands and just say, yes, we are the champions, right? Smashed. What is going on? Total abuse. Total abuse, right? Because what was the Industrial Revolution if not what is presented in a bash, trilogy of trilogies and trilogies of books and bashes of movies, right? Look, see, weren't these bashes cutting down all the forest and just going and mining and going to their deep and just look, devastating the landscape. See, that's a desolation that was left behind, and surely that's what your bash climate change is actually, talking about. This is what is, but supposedly to you, this was the origins of how it all began, right? So Bash, Bash planet, just desolate rock and lava and just blasting, right? And soon all the chondrocytes would just smash the earth and start creating the oceans. And soon enough, all these lightning bolts were just smashed down and hard enough and just somehow spark something that somehow led to something else and something and something now. And now you can write a book about some batch plays that did the same thing over and over again. So they bashed it in the apparent, story of this, and now you look outside and you're like, "Whoa, we're bashing our Earth. What is going on?" And you're like, "Well, this is fantasy, and what I live is actually living. So somehow this is a fantasy, but what I'm actually living is what I'm living, and somehow this is a fantasy, but somehow it's and you're like, "No, there's lessons to be learned from the story, so learn it." What are you talking about? Oh, see, victimhood to the 33rd degree, right? Abuse by the image that now you just worship and you engage in it. So this is what you see. Oh, people didn't do anything, and that's why this happened. And now we live in under earth. Now we had to go under the earth because we destroyed the surface. And this and this and this and that and that. Smashed. No, you were doing it to yourself all along, and I mean, wow. What other way could it have been? Because even in your own doctrine, you say, "Well, I have, the past is the past. I must just move exactly." So you're almost just exactly you're this bash, and somehow you think of yourself as this and this. So you're just the wow, the savant. You're the simple jack savant. Okay, because you are just the relentless child that you believe yourself to be. But no, it's just a bashed, just abused life, and then trapped in some bash thing that you think is somehow too simple for you, that you must industrialize yourself into the rebirth, you know, to somehow blast through the sun and return to your galactic, meteors of some bash, right? From the Palladians of the Palladians, because that will just complete the coronation, right? What are you doing? No, no. What is going on? For there are three that bear record in heaven: the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. And these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in earth: the Spirit, and the water, and the blood. And these three agree in one. Yes. But no, to you, it's just like, yes, that's why it's the triangle as above and the triangle so below, and this and this and this and that and this and this. No, no. The Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. Spirit, water, and blood. But somehow, you just have to steam power your way, right, through this, and then somehow just create more of these, abandon the use of water, and then just somehow use the flesh, abusing the blood, or and then just somehow bash thinking that you have the crown chakra all of a sudden, because you're such a great kundalini aligner, and you can stretch and huff and puff and just relentlessly pain and gain, pain and gain. But no, who knew that you're the Orkai, the living dead, and all this bash, other bashes that they were bashed into you. But you are the armies being gathered. You don't realize it, but you are the armies being gathered. And you are the ones that are out there industrializing it into manifest. But no, You don't know. You're just somehow living your own bashed little life in your own sovereign bashed self coronation, and in the ceremony of it, just relentlessly. But no, what supreme power, right, do you have because you were relentlessly offended, and you think that people are violating your will? Wow, how? If you're ultimately already bashed by other men because you refuse to recognize the only authority, the only lawmaker, your creator, your father, with the true promise, life everlasting, with the Father who knew. No, to you it just has to be about you and your self possession and your self authority of bash because I'm a bash self sovereign citizen, bash, 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 and all this bash. Nothing. For truly, you have an overlord that just bashes and collects. Collects and harvests, and taketh, reapeth what you have sown. And somehow, as long as they give me coin, it's okay because then I can go buy to replace what was taken of my, the sowing of the fruits of my labor somehow were defiled away from me, and somehow I just have to go buy some for myself. Okay. Or whatever, and some it's just bash, because all the labor, all the work that's been done to, I mean, because we're probably in the seventh wave, eighth wave, the ninth wave of the industrial revolutions, right? You couldn't wait to just cut that wave. Just cut it right because it's just so amazing and you feel like one with the water. Wow, just cutting that wave. But now they're waves of oil, relentless oil, natural gas, and fracking and fractals. Yes, because now textiles were the dominant industry. Textiles, little patterns and just things to just make you feel amazing. Wow. Wow. See, look, wow. Colonies, blah, 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 increasing the coin, blah, 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 blah. Hot blast iron smelting. Wow, in the 1800s. Wow. The second, and wow. See, because, wow, the new technologies such as electrical telegraphy, widely introduced in the 1840s, 1850s, were not powerful enough to drive high rates of growth. Rapid economic growth began to occur after the 1870s, springing from a new group of innovations in what has been called the Second Industrial Revolution, which ended in the middle of the 19th century. So it ended in the 1850s. So the late 18th, 19th century and the early 1900s. The first, oh, okay. So it's talking about the first. Never mind. And this is Bosch. Look, mass production, assembly lines, electrical grid systems. Yes, 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 yes. Grids, grids, grids. So they were recreating something from an old doctrine, old magic. Who knew? But to you, it's just new, and it's so new. No, 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 no. The Renaissance, right? The concept of humanity, humanitas, and the rediscovery of classical Greek philosophy, such as Protagoras, who said that man is the measure of all things. Oh, the synchronicity, right? Oh, the true science in this. Why the measure of man? So you worship the actual measure of man, and you'll just say, "Wow, look, it's the golden rule, and the golden rule, and the fractal, wow, and the ratio upon ratios. Wow, you can see it everywhere. That's why the man is the measure of all things. Wow, you're just biased because you cannot see it. Just accept, right, the fine tuneness of it all, right? The masterpiece, right? Why would the creation of the creator not be a masterpiece? Oh. Well, and just because you can, bash, call it something else and then worship that just by the images you make, right, with it and all this bash. Wow, who knew? Idol worship, because no, you could not just leave it as it is and be it and recognize it. Worship God, not worship the little bash things that you can make because of your said bash recognition. Or if you abuse that and then call your own, and then you call that the way out or the way to that it is in this, wow, who knew that's abandon? That's an abandonment. Who knew exactly? Also, that you could manifest art, architecture, politics, science, and literature. Of course. Early examples were the development of perspective. The development. Right, because before that, people had no clue. Oh, right. I mean, so people had no perspective of this. How did they even walk? How did they even know how to even live? They'd be just some blob that had no clue. Wow. What? This is all bash, right? So when did we go from simple Jack to just the wow? Now we're just so illuminated, right? We're just so illuminated now, right? Now we have some new perspective. So, what perspective did they have, right, in the 1400s, right? This is a Renaissance that apparently, right? The whatever 13th century was it of the 12th century, right? See, Renaissance of the 12th century, blah blah blah. But this one is modernity to the Middle Ages, marking 5th to the 15th century, and its rebirth to modernity in the ages of the 17th century thought and the 18th century enlightenment. The age of reason. The 1700s, the 1600s to the 1700s, apparently. So before that, they were just Bosch. So all the people that came to the Americas that supposedly slaughtered all the Mayans and all the indigenous of all that region. Somehow they were just bashed. So what were they bashed with? Oh, they were bashed with the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages beliefs and blah blah blah. It began with the fall of the Western, right, blah 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 empires, blah merged Renaissance age of discovery. So it was the age of discovery, and then it moved to the age of reason, right? Ah, and there's all this bash and bash, right? Because there you say, yes, that's how consciousness was expanding. No, what a shame. Why? No, of course not. Of course not. But they want you to believe it. They want you to believe that somehow before that, you had no clue. Your perspective was just somehow bashed. And it's now the ability to be able to develop it that now you're okay. Now this is the right thing. This is what it is. Now go out there and be somebody. Wow. Wow, what does that even mean? Wow. What's going on? Wow. See all the bashes, Leonardo and Michelangelo. Wow. Yes. Right? Who knew that they were creating just what was it? Masterpieces of what? Imagery. Imagery of what? Who knows? But wow, it's so beautiful. Wow. But somehow it happens. Who knows when that? I mean, it could. This could be some dude yesterday, but no, just because he's in a statue, you're like, wow, it happened so long ago, and this and that. So what's going on? You don't even know. But look, from the 14th to the 17th centuries, the Renaissance, right? Could it be that this? What was this art? Idol worship, image worship of what? Oh, you know, or you don't know, but you'll have the interpretations for it. Yes, relentless interpretations, and this and that, and this and this and that and that and that. Inductive reasoning, a method of reasoning in which premises are viewed as supplying some evidence for the truth of the conclusion. This is in contrast to deductive reasoning. While the conclusion of the deductive argument is certain, the truth of the conclusion of the inductive argument may be blah, 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 open to evidence and this and that, right? What's going on? Wow, so just again blurring the lines because somehow they didn't know, so they had to blur the lines even further. Categorize, and give you a rebirth. Wow. Because what survived? Oh, well, truly just the rebel, the defier, of life and bashing it in their own rebirth, giving it the name and the colors and all the curves and sways and apparitions of said image to keep you in a romance, to keep you in a stupor, entranced, enchanted, in all the multiple of ways, right? In all the bashed crystal smashed ways, the bending of light, smashing of light, to refract and bash you and just bash, 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 bash. But somehow, oh, I'm just so enlightened and coronated, right? You're self anointed. No, surely you're in Mordor and you're doing the bidding of that which you say you fear, which is, oh, death by fire. Well, who knew that you could not be more true in that sense, but the fire that you think is coming is not the fire that you think you have caused in the sense of it's the gases that we're burning. Well, who knew that maybe it's the friction within you that has just in the Gaia that you believe yourself to be living in. How could the said climate be separate from the bash that's happening in life, what you call organic life? So even in your bash life, you're still organic matter. So according to what's going on in your bash life, how could that be separate from what is lived? And you can call it this weather, the climate. No, it's the live, it's the organism, right? It's the Gaia that you worship that you say is a living thing. Wow, what is going on? So surely you're bash and you have no clue even in that sense. But go ahead, worship the light and go and try and manipulate the elements and be the alchemist and just manifest it. Just bash, bash, bash. Go spray the relentless layers of atmosphere with little tiny things that you believe will save you, or just somehow poison as well. So it's a two birds in one. But it's okay. We're just doing the exact same thing that the Anunnaki did. But hey, it's okay. Things will get better because the dragons will somehow come down and swoop down and save us. Wow. What is going on? Worship God. Amen.